We're using audio on this computer. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. And we're recording. Oh, God. Oh, goodness me. Right. And it is recording. So, quick test. Hello. Hi, Davina. Oh, am I on?
Hello.
Hiya, lovely. How are you?
All right, thank you. Are you?
Good. Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Not too bad. I've just realised this is already recording, and I clicked on it and went, "Oh my God, I'm okay. I can do it like that." So that's interesting. It will be edited out, I hope. So yeah.
I'm just waiting to try and print something off my printer on my laptop as well. So I don't know if I can just click off to print something. So I might go off at some point because I'm just waiting
No
to
problem. That's
put some
absolutely
ink
fine.
into the printer because it ran out.
Cool. Okay. Well, if you do, yeah, just let us know. And
I'm sure I can jump back on.
Yeah, anytime. You know how it works, and if you want to jump in at any point and talk about obviously what you do and what the business does and stuff, as I found when we did the one at the actual venue, and I just had obviously information wise, and Amelia was there, and we kind of just sort of took the opportunity of practicing, so to speak. It was a smaller crowd, and I think it'll be similar with this one. And it's with it being the first one online. Hopefully, it will be a good little practice one, so to speak. But obviously, it's we want to do more, and I think we're waiting now for about 5 people, all being well, to join us. Here's somebody else coming on now, I believe. And again, I'm realizing that as I'm speaking, as I'm saying it, it's recording. So I better be careful what I say. But no, we're going to have, I think we're just going to sort of have a bit of fun with this one and just sort of see how it goes. And I know, am I right to say, have you done one yourself?
Yeah, I did. I do the online networking ones, which we had we planned back in January before all of this. But we've done that like a slightly different format to the meeting, like the general meetings. It's done slightly differently.
Yeah.
So we go into breakout rooms and things like that. So it is done differently.
Sure. Oh, brilliant. Well, if you get the chance to tell people about that later on, then that'd be brilliant. And obviously, part and parcel of what we're doing all. So yeah, that sounds good. Okay, cool. Well, we've had a couple of people joining us, I think. Hello to those. Can you hear us okay?
Hi, yeah, I can hear you.
Fantastic.
Hello, I can hear you.
Hi there, mate. How you doing? You all right?
I'm fine.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Don't be shy if you've got a webcam. Do come and say a proper hello and let everybody see who you are, and everybody will have a chance to introduce themselves. So what we're going to do is...
Daniel, I'll be back in a bit, okay?
All right, babe. No worries.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
Okay, cool. So we're going to give it a few minutes. We've got a couple of hours. This is scheduled in between 10 and 12, but we may not go till 12. It may be sort of an hour and a half. What we're going to do, though, is we're just going to take a few minutes and wait for everybody. Hopefully, I think we've got about 5 people. So we're just going to see who else comes and joins us. And then we can all introduce ourselves properly, and I will... tell you guys all about this if you don't know already what it's about, and we'll go from there. It's the nerve-wracking thing for everybody. Just to let everybody know that this session is being recorded as well, but nothing to worry about. We'll all just act natural and do what we do, and it's absolutely fine as well. So, who have I got with me so far?
Yes, I'm here now.
Hello, mate. How are you? What's your name?
My name is Alex. I'm calling from Kenya.
From Kenya. Okay, cool. Nice to meet you, Alex. I'm Daniel.
Okay.
And thanks for being here today. And what's your name, my lovely?
Hi, Daniel. I'm Steph.
Hi, Steph.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
So, yeah, fairly local. Are you down in London?
I am, yes. I'm based in Richmond.
Okay.
What
How
about
are things
yourself?
there?
Say again, sorry?
How are things down there?
Not bad. Not bad. Obviously, under the circumstances,
Mhm.
it's not too bad. I'm lucky because I'm pretty much able. I've always worked remotely and from home initially as well when needed to be. So I'm able to kind of comfortably do that really, which is good. And most things like this is a great example is something that we can do like this online. And so I'm doing a lot of work online at the moment from home. And obviously, while businesses are closed and lots is happening and everything, it's yeah, it's sad times, but we're getting through it. And yeah, it's not too bad. We're trying to encourage everybody to be positive, have really positive thoughts, and just keep going and stuff. And we're going to be talking a little bit about it because obviously, in our ordinary meetings, when we have venues and people come and it's face to face, we can talk about challenges in business and things like that. Well, now more than ever is all about the support and everything. So I'm touching base on that a little bit, and I'll be coming back to it a bit later on as well. And what about yourself then? Whereabouts are you based?
So I'm just outside Norwich.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So do you know Serena and that lot already?
Yeah.
Do you know much about the business?
Yeah. So I'm part of the membership already.
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah. So Daniel, I kind of wasn't too sure what was happening this morning because I know that I caught the tail end of you chatting to Davina about the online networking meetings.
Yes.
So is this going to be similar to that, or I might go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no, please. What were you going to say?
Obviously, because I might not stay the full 2 hours with it being an online thing and stuff like that. Generally, the networking thing, we had about an hour that we'd sort of try and connect with whoever joined up and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So is this going to be almost like a regular meeting where you might just give us an intro in terms of what the business is about, what Her Business Revolution is about?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
What we've done is we've put it down for 2 hours. So we've got plenty of time to kind of network and pitch things, and everybody can come along. We'll see how many we've got. We'll give it a few minutes and we'll see how many we've got coming on. And then we'll go through everything. So it could actually end up just being 45 minutes to an hour, which is absolutely fine. And yeah, the idea is Davina does a lot of the online networking groups and meetings and stuff. And we launched our London one, back in February. And it was literally at the point before all this was happening. Yeah. And we were so lucky because we were obviously able to do that. Very, very much a last minute sort of thing really, where we were thinking, right, well, we've got the time, we've got the venue, and all that's happening. And then this was kind of creeping up with everything going on. But it was at a time before we thought it's not as bad to go and start doing the whole lockdown and be at home and social distancing and all that. So we did that, and then we started planning. So we launched the London one with a small group, pretty successful. And the plan would be to do regular meetings, maybe once or twice a month. So what we've done is we've simply brought them online because all the venues, stating the obvious, are closed. And with everything going on, we thought this would be a great opportunity. Rather than just put everything on hold, we can keep up with it. And so you'll know from the membership, you'll kind of know the details. But again, feel free to share sort of what you've had from it so far, if you like, where hopefully if more people come and join, let us know what what you think about it so far and the benefits and things like that. And of course, a little bit about you. I was going to ask you as well, what it is you do then as well.
So I am a, gosh, that's a bit of a loaded question.
It's okay. I get us all the time and okay. I feel the same.
No, where I'm moving more towards is obviously coaching. I'm a therapist at the moment. and I am qualified in neuro-linguistic programming and traditional Chinese medicine. So very much focused on health, mind, body, which I'm moving more towards coaching. One of my missions at the moment is financial education, obviously financial education for women. And then moving that in terms of financial education for women and hopefully their kids as well, if they have kids. But it's, you know, those are the three areas: is mind, body, and I've kind of called it body, brain, and business, but business doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have your own business. It's
absolutely
just ways of, you know, getting some financial education so that you can achieve the point of financial independence, or, you know, a bit more of financial stability, considering, you know, it's obviously such an important subject, if we just look at the circumstances at the moment as well.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. It's very interesting because before all of this, what's happening started, it's the kind of thing where I go, oh, I'm always really, and I still would, of course, I'm always really intrigued about things like that, and I'm always thinking, you know, that there are areas and very much detail, if you like, for lack of a better word, there where I don't really know much about it. And I go, do you know something? It's something that I'd be keen to talk about and learn, because I find things like that really fascinating. I'm always really interested and quite intrigued about that. I love learning about different things. And if it's something that I go, do you know what? I don't really have much interest in that at all. I never kind of rule it out. I'm very open-minded in that way. You know, I was talking to somebody, again, a few months ago prior to all of this, in central London, who works in acupuncture. And their first question was, have you ever had it? And I went, no. Plain and simple. I was like, oh, no, I don't think I could. The idea of having like a million needles and all that, and I don't think that's for me. But I found myself asking questions about it. I was really intrigued. And I think that's a good quality, and I think that people should be encouraged to learn. And of course, because we're networking, what we do, it's amazing how many people might suddenly go, oh, I want to know more about this. Part of my job kind of with this, and I'll introduce things properly in what I do, but kind of my job initially is I work in public relations, and I work in and I'm using the term more these days because of what's going on. I'm using the term media and communications a little bit more in that sense. I call myself the middleman, where I love connecting people. And I'll tell you more about, as I say, about me and what I do and where I come from. But that's, you know, something I find really exciting to do. So when people come to me with things that I'm not really knowledgeable in, I find that I'm the kind of person who just gets really intrigued by things. And I'm like, oh, okay, tell me more, and that kind of thing. So it's interesting. And at a time like this, it sounds as well, I think it's safe to say, quite rightly so, that it's something that a lot of people can probably, what's the word I'm looking for? They can probably enjoy a lot of and get a lot out of, am I right to say?
Yeah.
As well. So yeah, awesome, fantastic. And again, hopefully you'll be able to tell more people about it. So what are we now? We're about nearly 10:15. So I'm just going to give it a couple more minutes just to say. Now, I know our founder, Serena, she's just sent me a message and she was on a call. I know she is hopefully logging in as quickly as possible. And so I'm just going to give her just a couple of minutes to do that as well. And hopefully when she logs in, she'll be able to tell you as well a little bit more about the company, the membership. Now, obviously, Steph, you already know the benefits of that and everything. Now, Alex, come to you and what is it that you do, if I may ask then, mate?
Okay, I am a teacher.
Okay.
And I work, I currently don't do teaching. You
I
can hear me?
imagine it's the same story over in Kenya than it is in the UK and etc. in the world. Schools will obviously be closed and everything at the moment.
Okay, everything is closed currently
Mm-hmm.
because we have like 9 deaths as at yesterday, and we have closed some counties like the capital cities because of reducing the spread. And people are affected because schools are closed, colleges are closed, everything is closed. Businesses are not working, people are not getting supplies which they need every day. So we don't know when this will end, but we were given 3 weeks lockdown.
Absolutely, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, listen, Alex, what I will obviously let you know is I don't know how much you know about the Hair Business Revolution. Now, obviously, you're very, very welcome to be here and everything. Just to let you know that the Hair Business Revolution is, and the membership is actually created for female entrepreneurs.
Okay.
So obviously it's interesting, and don't get me wrong, I personally will welcome anybody into the meetings who are interested, because you might have a partner and colleagues who you can pass information on to, and there are things there as well that could be beneficial as the time goes, and again, especially at this point in time as well. So, so yeah, feel free to obviously stick around and get the information, see what you think, and if you know anybody who's interested, you know, we obviously welcome that and as well, if that's okay.
Okay, I may not be in for the whole 2 hours because I am from another meeting.
Sure,
But,
that's absolutely fine. We've put it down for 2
okay.
hours to give ourselves obviously time for people to log on and pitch what they do, etc. But 9 times out of 10, it's usually about an hour and a half tops.
Okay.
She looks like she's hiding at the moment, but I think Serena, who is our founder, has logged on. Are you there, Serena? Muted at the moment. We're all doing, obviously, it's a busy time as well, where everybody's doing a couple of different things as well at the moment and have meetings and stuff. But I think she's here, and I'll just give it a couple of minutes, and I think Davina's going to come back as well, and everybody will be able to pitch what they do and tell you more about what they do and everything. But yeah, I think time-wise, guys, we'll and I think we're expecting a relatively small group today as well. So time-wise, we will probably be, I would say, about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour tops, and everything. But as I say, we have that time. So if anybody wants to ask questions and network and pitch what they do properly and everything, we'll be able to do that. And there she is, pulling funny faces and looking as gorgeous as always. How are you, babe?
Hi. Hi. Sorry,
Hi
I was
to
on.
you.
Hi. Nice to meet you. Hi. Nice to see everybody. Yeah, I've just been on another call, which just went well over. It's the sort of norm at the moment, kind of.
It is, isn't it? I was just saying that we're all doing a couple of different things.
Yeah, definitely. It's a little bit crazy, and I think because children are at home, is my eldest. So yeah, things are a little bit crazy, but lovely to see you all.
You too.
How's it going? Sorry I'm late.
That's okay. Yeah, we're just giving it a few minutes to see if anybody else logs on. Davina was on before and had to rush off because she was just printing something, and she's coming back. And as I say, we'll give it a couple of minutes to see who else, if anybody else logs on, and hopefully they will. And then we'll get started. And I reckon we can just pitch what we do, and perhaps you'd like to tell everybody a little bit, obviously, about how you started the business and what's on offer, kind of thing, if you like, if that's okay. And then everybody can pitch what they do, and we'll go from there, if that's okay.
Awesome. Yeah. So, yeah, I'll happily start. I'm more than happy with that.
Well, should we get started now then? If anybody logs in, we can jump back and all that as well.
Yeah, cool. People, that's the thing we've found with Zoom calls, is that people kind of hop in, hop out. We'll put this in the membership group as well, so if people want to watch it afterwards, you know, to get anything from it, that they need it. So I think that's the sort of norm at this sort of time, is that
can it be edited as well before it goes live? Because you've got me at the beginning going, oh my god, it's recording already.
Yeah, I'll edit
Try
it.
not to swear.
But those bits are quite funny, so I might.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fun. It's all fun. I'm looking at it going, oh my goodness me, here I go. But yeah, it's great. And it's so brilliant. I was saying to Steph and Alex, who's joined us from Kenya as well.
Wow.
Which is really cool, because obviously we put the link out. And we've only had a small group coming onto the Eventbrite link and everything, but we've obviously do what we normally do, sharing it on all our social media in the groups, etc. And of course I've done it on mine. So with the hope if people join us last minute and everything, that's really cool. And obviously I was saying to Steph before, who I know knows about the membership, etc., about doing the regular kind of meetings, and Davina has hers, and I know you have yours, etc. And so, why don't we start then, Serena, with for the sake of again, just in case anybody logs on, but why don't you start and tell people a little bit more then about the business and where and how it started, how you started it, etc. If that's okay.
Yes, I will. Yeah. So yes, I'm Serena. I'm the founder of Her Business Revolution. It started. Sorry, I've got an eyelash in my eye now. It's typical, isn't it, when you just trying to start talking. I look like I do this morning as well. Will just say, because of these things called children waking us up in the night. So excuse the appearance. So I started in 2015, took over a local networking group that was here in where I live in Norfolk, and from that rebranded it, promoted it in a different way to get sort of a slightly different clientele in, and grew it from there. So basically we sort of added a couple more meetings in the area, then obviously more and more, then obviously the London. Now you're doing stuff in London and North, and looking at doing stuff more internationally as well, and with larger events, training, empowerment events, wellbeing events, that kind of thing, as well as business related. So and I probably the main reason my interest at the time in actually taking this smaller networking group over, and the growth that has progressed with Her Business Revolution, is due to these sort of things, and the current situation, you know, where sometimes we're forced, as women especially, forced into different situations that we kind of have to be flexible and have to adapt and have to change. And I think that's why when I rebranded it as Her Business Revolution, because we're always kind of moving forward and evolving for the better, for the members, really. So absolutely. And a lot of it is not just the business networking aspect for anyone, male and female, but also the well-being, emotional support for the challenges that any business person faces, really. So it's not just focused on the business training and the business coaching and that business focused element, but the actual person behind the business and their well-being, their self-care, their mental health as well. So as well as the business training, also looking at the kind of empowerment aspect and giving knowledge in order to empower that person to be the best version of themselves, to then create the best business they can because they're at their best. So that is almost Her Business Revolution in a nutshell. Yes, we mainly cater for females, but as you were then saying, when I then did log in, we do a lot of, obviously yourself, Daniel, as area manager for London, we do have men on board, and it's more about we mainly cater for women, but also if male business owners got something from it and found what we do useful, then by all means we can always diversify into, and I know we've spoken about it many times about doing stuff just related to men as well, but the more personal focused stuff, not just the hard business stuff, because there is an increasing need for men to have that as well. And I don't think in terms of business and the way women and men do business differently, there's not always a lot of the softer business softer personal stuff available there for men in a very non-judgmental way, if that makes sense. So
absolutely, I've often found as well, and while we're recording obviously this, and if people miss today's meeting obviously, and it may not go on as long with for that reason, but hopefully we can take the opportunity to show people a little bit and talk about, as we are doing, what the business does and what the membership does as well. So for the sake of the recording, I find as well that when we've done the actual meetings and stuff so far, the London launch, the first thing that I found interesting for myself was being able to sit with everybody there. Was a group of female entrepreneurs, and Amelia was there, and obviously the group that we had. And I remember the first thing that I was thinking, kind of saying, was, will it sound hypocritical coming from a male, really, in all intents and purposes, when knowing that history has probably taught us that we live in we have lived in quite a male-dominated world in business. And, you know, there's times that go back in history where it's all about what the men do and things like that. But I love the idea that living in the 21st century, where men and women are equal and women have as much rights and can go out and work and do anything they want. And we often have conversations, obviously, about how things work and how in life, when it's both personal and professional, how you juggle things around. So you might want to take the opportunity, if that's okay, to touch base a little bit on that side of things, how we obviously have that support network as well. So, for example, having hubby when, besides what's going on at the moment, going off to work, and when you do what you do, and of course having the kids and everything as well. And for those of us who have all that as well, again, we look at that balance, if you like, between business and personal. What's your thoughts, if you like, on that?
It's quite interesting that actually COVID-19 and that situation has brought up a lot of talk surrounding this within the members club and between me and my mentors, and generally within the business owners environment, I suppose, because there's traditionally, between men and women, there is, as I said before, the different sales approaches and the hard and soft business approaches to running a business, but also you've got the very traditional roles of men and women in the household, and who goes off to work and who stays home with the children. And I think that's kind of highlighted and kind of pushed to the forefront of everyone's minds at the moment, as the roles have had to change. For example, just an example, my husband's a site agent for a building firm, and he goes to work at 6:30 in the morning, sometimes doesn't get home till 6:30 in the evening. So all day I'm obviously responsible for getting the children up, getting them ready for school, breakfast, etc., getting them to school, and so my working day isn't able really realistically to start till 9:30, and then I have till 2:30 when it's again the school run. And so my working time within those sort of 5-6 hours, whatever I have in the day, has to be really focused and really planned out and really efficient, should we say, and I think as much as obviously my husband's brilliant in the role he does with our household, he hasn't previously fully understood that, and how much work I actually need to get done within the short time I have, until he's now been off work and furloughed due to COVID-19. So it's very interesting how this almost brings up, the situation has brought up the traditional ideologies of male and female roles, and how you're each able to understand a little bit more of the pressures that are on each other, really.
And as a modern day working couple, when you think back with history, you think about people like older generations, maybe parents, but definitely grandparents, who sort of being raised or working, or perhaps raising kids, like grandparents who were raising our parents in times like the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, would probably argue and say, like my grandmother would have said, well, it was tradition at that point to be the mother and the housewife, whilst obviously, you know, he went off to work, etc. It doesn't have to be like that these days. But with what's going on at the moment, what sort of, how has it sort of been for you then? Obviously from that, again, balance between business and personal, where obviously you both go and work and have the responsibilities and everything, and now obviously the changes where you're kind of obviously being together at home and doing that. Has there been any benefits? Has it been challenging? One of the things that I was going to sort of talk about, obviously with more people, but again for the sake of the recording, can touch base on a little bit about the challenges which we face in life and in business and everything as well. What has that been from your perspective?
Probably, as you can see, I've just been joined by 2 children, and my husband has come and summoned them out of the room, because living in a bungalow, you kind of don't get any peace of, even if I go out in my office, which is in my garden, I literally don't get any peace and quiet. So from that perspective, it's quite challenging. But I think we've kind of, I mean, it's not the same for everybody, but I think it's almost made us reevaluate our life, and actually I'm really
as well.
in a good way, in terms of actually you know, me and my husband Matthew have a real love of property development. He's obviously in the building trade. I come from an estate agency background, so we've always wanted to buy and renovate property and let property, and this has almost made us realise that you know, he could be home and support with the children, and we could pursue that dream, and that is achievable with me just working. So I think it's kind of just made us evaluate our life, really, and kind of, I think sometimes, as we said, the tradition, the roles that tradition put men and female in, you almost take that as your lot, you know, that's what you're supposed to work, and you're supposed to work your 40 hours, and that is, you know, you just have to settle for that. Whereas in reality, you can design your life however you'd like to design your life. And I think self-employment gives you that opportunity to do that, whether you're female or male. And yeah, it's really interesting that, actually, coming back to your point about like why her business revolution started up, and about the membership club and stuff like that, is actually it's just bringing like-minded people together who face the same challenges and same struggles and same barriers to life that present to them struggles with their business and the life they want, and actually all working together and communicate and sharing and evolving and moving forward together. And I think that just in a nutshell, it provides the platform to be able to do that in a safe space, and with no judgment. And now more than ever, really. Yeah, definitely.
It's
So-
amazing as well from my perspective. And Amelia, I don't think she was able to join us today. And again, if she was, she'd be saying the same thing as yourself with kids running around and everything. But I know, I'm sure she'll catch up later, and I'm sure she won't mind me saying that. Obviously, she'll know again, similar to yourself, the challenges faced of being at home and stuff. There's the challenges of it. Maybe there's positives, maybe there's negatives, etc. While all this is going on. But it got me thinking very much, especially in preparation for today, about knowing that this was going to be the first one online. And I thought, I don't know how many people we're going to have, but there's always what I hope that people will go and watch this and think, right, let's go and check out the next one where more detail will be given. Hopefully,
I think at the moment I was then speaking to a Superwoman member. That was who I was on a call to before coming here, and there's that misconception that because people at home, they're not busy, and yes, they are online, but it's almost that misconception of, oh, because meetings are on Zoom, you're going to get like 10,000 people turn up because everyone's sitting at home doing nothing. But actually, a lot of people who I've spoken to are using this time to plan for business. Yes, they're still networking, but I think Zoom almost takes away the accountability of networking, and I think that's what the offline meetings do, is they keep that accountability and they allow you to get out of your normal environment. Whereas at the moment with Zoom meetings, we're not able, the current situation, we're not able to get out of our current environment. So people are almost it can be a positive and a negative. And I think that's why I think I'm so passionate always. A lot of people say, well, the events and the meetings offline and the training offline and everything, that is like, there's an extra cost to it, there's an extra time involved with it, there's extra effort involved in it. A normal meeting such as this would take a good, like as a hostess myself, would take me 3 to 4 hours of my time actually on the meeting, because I'll end up staying well beyond the 2 hours, networking away, chatting away, kind of driving to, driving from, so there's a lot more energy involved in it. But actually it's the accountability's there a bit more. You're able to build more intense business and personal relationships with the people that you're networking with, as opposed to Zoom, where it's very different. That is still very difficult with technology, even though you're face to face. We're not, like at the moment, we're not really able to judge our body language so well, and that people can be listening in the background and not actually be there. Like you're not, so like, as much as a lot of people always say, well, the offline events, there's so much effort for, but actually I think it creates a better environment to network and to be empowered and to be trained, and that, online training and development and networking, that is all really great. But I still stand by that offline stuff needs
absolutely.
to
I totally agree. I think if anybody goes and watches this later on and is watching this back and says, it's great that we can do these things online. And I'm sure a lot of people, after 3 or 4 weeks, 5 weeks for myself, actually, again, you might say with kids, no offense to them, of course, with total respect, but people with families and doing what they do and being in where you could have a small flat, you could have a 4-bedroom house, you could have a mansion. It doesn't matter, because, space-wise and time-wise, and we're all in the same boat, no matter what we're doing. And I do reckon that a lot of people will probably turn around and say, actually, in fact, now that I think about it, people that I've spoken to, even after a couple of weeks, have said, I feel like I'm climbing the walls a little bit. I want to go out. I want to see my friends. I want to do something. I had a conversation the other day where we'd heard something online about this going on. And I thought, well, it's something that somebody's made up, clearly, because it's not been mentioned anywhere else. It's just appeared as if someone's come up with the idea and have said this. And basically, the longer this goes on for, the harder it's going to be. People often come and say, do you know what? I can't imagine if this was to go on for another year, for example. I'm not saying it will be for the sake of the recording and people watching. I've no power in that whatsoever. It's not my place to say. But if in the circumstances, I know a lot of people will agree and say, do you know what? I can't go so long without going and seeing family members and seeing friends and actually socializing. So we've got this whole social distancing thing. And I think it's all about being safe and being cautious now and everything, and knowing that we can make things better. And I believe that what we now need to do is look at all the positive side to everything, because this has been such a challenging time, personal, professional, in business, in everything. When the time comes for us, and again, for business in general, to reopen and places to, God willing, get back to normal. That's going to be the focus over the next maybe month, who knows. We don't know time-wise, but I know from our perspective that, again, people watching this back later on can hopefully go, right, I love the idea of being part of a meeting that takes place in a lovely venue where you can have a cup of coffee, you can actually sit face to face, and it's a time, God willing, in the near future where it's safe to do so. We spent literally a couple of conversations right before this happening, saying about obviously what we want to do in our meetings, how often we're going to do things, all ideas and stuff. There was when you plan things as well, so I think there's the positives and negatives, the pros and cons, so to speak. It's challenging when you think about things we have planned. The first thing, my parents, who are quite active, they've got very active social lives. They do a lot of things. They're both retired, but they do a lot of things in charities and work and in their community, etc. My dad, bless him, probably does more now than he did when, he'll kill me for saying that, but when he did when he was working. And he loves what he does, and he loves keeping a very active life. So at the moment, he's kind of like, I'm enjoying that bit of time to sit and relax at home, but I'm still getting on with things. I'm keeping that normality, that similar, if not the same routine. And I'm doing things as the nicer weather's kicking in, doing things with a little bit of going out and doing a bit of gardening and just that leisurely stuff that you don't have a chance to do. My mum's become obsessed, bless her, with shows on Netflix, much like myself, who, whenever I've got a bit of spare time and try and watch a few box sets and all the rest of it, we all do. And it's these things. So I've found that keeping up the normality and keeping to the best, if not the same, very similar routine, from getting up in the morning, getting ready, going out for a jog or something. And it's all about being safe and being careful, being cautious of what we're doing and who we're interacting with, and trying to keep that distance. But we're doing this for a reason. Yeah. Now, I personally, when we have things planned in the diary, like I know you were planning to come through to London and everything, and said, let's go and have dinner and let's brainstorm for an hour or two, and then there's events going on and stuff. I look forward to that. And when I spoke to Amelia a week or two ago, and I said, you know what, at the moment, it's really nice when you've got connections with people and go, we can do these video calls.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there, though, is that the offline stuff provides headspace away from the office, away from the laptop, doesn't it? In a way, and I think from a well-being perspective and a mental health perspective, that is really key. And I think that's what a lot of the members and the guests that come to meetings, 9 times out of 10, the majority of them come for that personal aspect and the well-being aspect,
and so we always talk about the social aspect,
not just the business aspect. Business obviously has to have some play in it, and building those relationships will lead to good business, but that's not always the primary reason why these offline events work. And it's quite interesting, because obviously the majority of traditional networking groups and organisations have switched their meetings to online, obviously, with the situation going on. And it's great that we have technology to be able to do that. However, it was quite interesting that at Her Business Revolution, we had already started doing online meets, so it's quite interesting that we already appreciate the positives of having the online community and the online platform for the membership, the online training, the online resources, the online networking. But that has one half to play, and the offline networking and events and training are positive as well.
Absolutely. So, yeah. It's amazing as well, because this is what I love about technology, and we do this all the time. As you said, it's something that we were already doing. And as I said before, when I spoke to Amelia a couple of weeks ago, what was really nice is to go, well, we can still communicate. We can talk on the phone, we can text, we can email, we can do all these things. And of course, now we can do video calls. We're recording this for people to watch. We're talking about what we do and how we're able to adapt online. There's a little bit of me that's always going to think I get why we're doing it. I appreciate it. I'm thinking, and I'm always encouraging, and in my tweets, you'll probably see, and post on Facebook and all the rest of it, to say to people, stay safe, stay at home. Let's get through this, because I think we can. And a lot of people are thinking that way. At the same time, call it slightly hypocritical, for lack of a better word, but it's great when all of a sudden, when you're talking to people, like I spoke to Amelia a couple of weeks ago and said, we're communicating, we're doing what we're doing, we're keeping up with everything, but we're doing what we're doing now, and we're going, do you know what? I miss you, love. It's great. I can't wait to see you and actually have that proper conversation, walk into a cafe, hug, and go, this is what we are able to do. We can sit and we can talk and have that social time, which we all, let's be honest, we all enjoy. Going out for a pint with your mates in your local, or meeting up for a cup of coffee, or having a dinner, or whatever we do. But we know as well that the events that we do, whether they're online or whether they're in venues and face-to-face and all that, work for us, and the being able to adapt. And it's something I think we can encourage more in the future, and people have got the options and everything. So obviously we've not got a massive group, which I knew, kind of being the first one. We've got a couple of dates booked in, and I know we're going to do regular, and for however long this goes on for, I know that we're going to be doing obviously different.
It's amazing to think though that was it Alex you said joined us?
Yes, all the way from
Alex,
Kenya, I believe.
Yeah, Kenya, and that's pretty crazy. Like, I think that's the power of online stuff, is that
internationally as well.
It's just it's amazing to think that, like, you can interact with people in any country, and I think that then brings its own positives and benefits, because it brings diversity to the group. It brings, like I said before, it's great, like, having you as a male on the Her Business Revolution team, because you bring a different perspective, and I think that's why, because a lot of people, I've been called sexist because I cater for a female audience, which is just insane, because every business has to have an ideal client and a target audience. That makes business sense.
But then wouldn't it be worse if someone like myself, as a male, then said, I cater strictly for other males and everything like that? So I think people use that term nowadays where I don't know. There's something about it that I'm trying to. What's the word I'm looking for? It's. I think it's a little bit hypocritical, really, to sort of use.
I mean, I don't think it's being sexist. I actually think it's just having business sense to have an ideal client. I've recognised that I have a target audience that needs what I can offer.
Absolutely.
But by any means, like with Alex joining today, you being our area manager, in the future, we wouldn't discriminate against having other male input. One of my really key mentors, is a male, and I think
very, very good.
Any diverse organisation would have it, not for the sake of just because you're not the token male on our team, Daniel, but for your skills as a person, but your skills as a human being are really important, and that's that's, I think, the key thing is, you know, if any men are watching this now and want, you know, think, oh, you know, the stuff that her business revolution does would benefit me. We have men at our events, we've had men at our meetings, you know, we've had male speakers, we've had, it's not a sense of you're either in or you're out, you know. That's, and I think that's what I was trying to get away from with her business revolution. I was having this conversation with a member the other day, saying that trying to get away from that kind of environment of that school feeling where you feel isolated and you're not in with the clique. And because I was having a conversation with a woman who said, oh, I want to join the membership, but now's not the right time financially. I know it would benefit me, however, you know, I've got to put other stuff as a priority. But I kind of feel like, am I excluded from this, am I excluded from that? And I said, well, no, we try, and obviously as an organisation we need to make money somehow, and membership is the way that we do that. Because a lot of our events and meetings and stuff like that are free. However, you know, there is free training there available. You can be in the general group there for free. You know, there's a lot of stuff we do try and do. We do the most stuff we can for free as a profit making organisation to be able to run. To try not to exclude people, because I was really badly bullied at school, and I think that feeling of kind of being excluded and not accepted, I would hate to think that that was a feeling that anyone, male or female, would feel towards us as an organisation.
Whether it's in business, in everyday life, etc., etc. It's something a lot of people will relate to. It's something we share, so to speak, and know so much about. And there may be certain areas that we go, oh, you know, like we've talked about, or there might be something that you have personally that myself and Davina and members of the team might not know. Matthew probably will. You know, it's these kind of things where something you might go, well, I'm not sharing this with you or anybody else because it's very personal to me, but then there's something else that I feel I can, because if it inspires people, if it motivates people, then great. And you know, I mean, I'm obviously exactly the same, and coming from my perspective, one of the reasons that I chose to do this was I come from a background where I've worked, and it's kind of been the most important aspect, coming from a background in entertainment, in theatre, in music. The joy that I've had and the most experience that I've had doing is actually working with a fellow, I want to say actress, being of course the correct and appropriate term, being somebody who you can have that connection, you can have that chemistry with. Sure, I've worked with fellow male actors and performers and sung duets and stuff, but I've often done that traditionally with females, with actresses, again, singing on stage and performing. And it's been the same throughout that side of things. And stepping a few years ago, as I did, into the corporate side of business, and checking out what was out there in the world and everything, for me, it wasn't about gender, and it wasn't about who was who and what race and what religion and all these different things. None of that really mattered. It was actually about a human being. If you had to sum up in one word and say what we all are, is human. And for me, the inspiration came from where I came from, in music, in theatre. It was people who I'd watched and seen, people who taught me doing the things that I did, the people I've worked with, coming into the business world and discovering people who I've got to know and been inspired by. When we met and talked about the business, and the first time you sat and sort of talked with me about how it all works and what I could do for it. And the last few months that I think I started this officially before I moved down to London. So I want to say it's been about 11 or 12 months. So yeah, pushing, I'd say about a year. And I've been down in London officially, although I spent time here over the last God knows how many years. I've spent so much time down here, but I've been living here officially for about 10 months now. Time's just flown by. And of course, the first few months of being able to go out, I was saying earlier on at the beginning of this video that over in the corporate side of things, and I do associate a lot in the entertainment world, I do a lot of work in public relations. And of course, I'm often out and I'm networking and I'm doing lots of different areas. At the moment, I'm using the term a little bit more accurately of media and communications because of everything that we're doing online. It's the same principle, but I often find myself thinking of myself as the middleman. And I love doing that. I love connecting people. So when we do our events and we talk about the memberships and everything, what the benefits are, what people get from it. The other thing that I really enjoy, and I've experienced this a lot myself, is being able to network and connect with people. We had the London launch where two people from very different backgrounds all of a sudden said, well, I'm doing etc. and I'm doing X, Y, and Z. And they swapped business cards. Everybody swapped business cards and details, and we connected on LinkedIn. And that's one of the benefits, is you're connecting with people, you're looking at opportunities. So, I mean,
and I think it's not just who you've got in the room as well, is it? You know, I think a lot of people, like we've said today, you know, that there's, you know, people are busy, not many people are able to come on to the Zoom, which is a shame, but it's also about not just who's present, but also who they know and who they know and who they know, and that kind of ripple effect of kind of a lot of people. I think we're nowadays, with technology and with social media especially, there's this kind of misconception that popularity and numbers and big volume and, you know, big events and big they're going to be more beneficial, whereas actually you're probably the same. You might have been to a big event with thousands, and that, you know, a lot of the shows in London are massive. You know, I've been to a couple of the big business shows there, and they're, you know, they've got like 13 to 20,000 people go, but how many of those people can you actually have one-to-one conversations with? How many of those people do you actually get to know, you know? And I find that larger events, although they're great, and that's why they work for us in terms of in terms of Her Business Revolution, for empowerment events, because you know, people sit and watching someone talking works well with larger events, but the smaller events always work better when it comes to networking, because you're building those really intense relationships with people. You're getting to know them and what makes them tick and what they do and why they do it, and then they then go on and tell someone about you, because they know about you and what you do and what makes you tick. And then, you know, it's networking is not just about who's in the room, but also making yourself memorable enough, so and building that real key high quality relationship. So when someone says, oh, you know, what networking organization do you network with, you know, oh yeah, you want to speak to Daniel, you know, you want to speak to him, he's the first one in the mind if anyone's calling out for what you provide. And I think that's really important to stress that in a world where I've had one-to-one clients, so business women who have got 13 to 15,000 like followers on a social media platform, Instagram, Twitter, whatever that may be, but they're making no money, you know. And it's that ideology of, you know, people can look at a businesswoman like that and go, wow, you know, she's doing really well, she's got 13,000 Instagram followers, like she must be doing so well. But because she didn't have any sort of strategy or wasn't building any strong business relationships and more personal relationships with any of those followers, really they were all just a number, because it wasn't actually translating into any business. I'm not saying she wasn't talented in terms of what she did for business, it's just she wasn't connecting the popularity with B, like she wasn't building that bridge with business strategy and the networking and the actual that middle bit. So it was almost all the effort to get all those followers, but then no substance in the middle, and then no money out of the end of it. So it's really
all the time. Again, doing the work in the corporate side of things and events, and doing the work in entertainment, sometimes there's the few little links there as well. The promotions is obviously a really big thing that I'm involved in. Producing promotions, people come and say, you're really, really good at promoting a lot of things. And what I get a lot of feedback about, and I think this is great. I'm pretty proud of this without sounding big-headed or anything. But I do get a bit of a kick out of this. I do love the idea that people come and often say, you don't stick to one area. You're not a nightclub promoter. You're not an artist promoter. You're not a gig promoter. You do that. If someone comes and says, I'm doing an event at a club and I've got an artist on, you kind of do the whole scenario, and you work with other artists, and you've done yourself with your background as well as other people and areas that you do. And then there's the corporate side, whether it's online events or whether it's in venues, etc. And there's a little bit of everything. And how do you manage to cope? How do you balance it? And a lot of people ask questions. I get people are curious. There's some things that are sometimes a little bit difficult to share because we might be working on a particular project. We go, well, we want to tease people a little bit. We want to give a few little examples. We don't want to quite give the whole thing away, but it's meant to lead to something. So like we, for example, we might be able to say, as we do these small meetings at the moment, again, stating the obvious for all that's happening, and in all intents and purposes, here we are online. We're recording what is now become a little one-to-one video actually between us, which is pretty cool actually, because if people watch this, hopefully they can see. And I hope this comes across for people who are watching and genuinely coming across. For those that are watching this back, seeing us talking like this, using the benefits of technology, and yet being able to have that sort of that connection, that chemistry, that little bit of banter and everything, that you know, being comfortable to be able to talk and connect in what we both are passionate about in our world of business, etc. And knowing that, fingers crossed, and God willing, will come a time in hopefully the near future where we can go, let's go and grab dinner or coffee and all the, you know, and go and have our events and our meetings and stuff that we do. And of course, one of the things that we're doing as we do these little events, whether they're online, etc., we're leading towards our conferences. I don't want to say too much about things that I'm just going to say planning really at the moment and doing what we're doing.
Well, there's a bit of planning, not knowing what's going on
at the moment. So
I think Alex has come back on.
Oh yeah, hi Alex. Yeah. Welcome back, mate. And so
Okay.
I think that's really, really interesting to know that. And again, we are at a time now where it's not come to a standstill. A lot of things have been postponed and put on hold. And we're now kind of trying to edge our way around things to think, well, maybe there's a bit of a backup plan. There's a plan B, basically. There's something there where we're going to have things. And as soon as we know that we can go ahead with things and at a time when we can release the details and say to people, this is what's happening, you know, and that's what it's all about. People often will come to me and ask about details in the ways of, right, well, again, how do you manage things? How do you promote? What advice can you give us? And even questions as how do you make the money and how do you do this, et cetera, as you've pointed out. I think there's no right or wrong answers, though. I think, you know, everyone's going to be different. I think
everyone's kind of unique and in their business model, and I think that's what we're trying to achieve with any coaching or anything that I do personally, is that there's no rule book. It's everyone's business. It's their livelihood, and they can shape it however they want. So, did I miss Alex introducing himself earlier, or has he not as yet?
You did actually. So, Alex, are you still there, Alex?
Okay, yes, I'm here.
Hiya. So do you just want to, I know you already kind of touched base at the beginning on what you did, but do you just want to let Serena know, obviously for the sake of the recording, we're just going to have Alex come back and just pitch himself and introduce himself again, as we started doing that at the beginning. So if you want to tell everybody who you are, what you do, etc., and introduce yourself to Serena.
Sorry to be a pain.
Okay, no problem. Okay, hello, Serena.
Hello, nice to meet you.
My name is Alex Kanyenya. I'm calling you from Kenya. I hope you are hearing.
International.
Hello?
Yeah, carry
Yeah, I
on.
can hear you. I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm calling you from Kenya. Currently, we are under lockdown. I'm a teacher. So, hey. Okay, let me back so that I can see you. Yeah.
Ah, I can see you.
Okay. I'm doing something else, so I can come back now and see you. Okay, so we are under total lockdown whereby most of the services and businesses have closed down, and we have gone to online working whereby you are calling and working from home. And when I saw the invitation for our business revolution, I thought I should join in so that I can know how can we work online, even if it's in UK, how can we get the services here? And I saved my time to come and join you during the meeting.
Yeah.
Then I also wanted to know who are the members. Like now that I'm a little bit free, I'm not very fixed. When do you do meetings that I can be joining you? Unfortunately, I knew it is for women, but we are also fighting for women as men. So I wanted to know how can I get into the business, that kind of stuff.
So do you have a business at the moment, or are you thinking of starting up, or what situation are you in at the moment in terms of business?
Currently, I'm not doing a stable business. I'm just working, but I'm planning to start one very, very soon after Corona things end. So currently, I don't have a business.
And what is that in? Can you share that, or is it a big secret?
About the business I'm intending to start.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm intending to start a business that is a laundry washing machines in a certain nearby town, but not definitely where I work. So I'll employ someone to be working for me.
And where are you working in a similar industry at the moment, or something completely
Okay,
different?
I'm working, personally I'm a teacher, but I'm working something close to teaching, which is managing an educational center. But I don't teach. I manage. I'm like, I manage that center.
Okay. That's cool. What I'm actually thinking, I'll jump in here briefly and say, for you, Alex, I think, in fact, I'll probably hand this over to Serena because she'll probably explain it. Get my words out right. She might explain it a little bit better in terms of any the benefits that we have of our memberships and any online training. Obviously, being based where you are, and this is again one of the ideas of being online, which is great. People can join from anywhere. So Serena, you might be able to advise Alex on any potential online training that we have that he might be interested in. I'm just wondering if that's an area that might work.
Yeah. From what you then said, if you're transitioning from employment to self-employment, it is quite a transition. So we have training related to that. Also, at the moment, I've just created a planner, which, even though it's primarily focused on women, it's got a lot of key ideas and guidance in order to evolve business through COVID-19. And as you're in a transition period of thinking of going from employment to self-employment, a lot of the stuff within that planner would actually work well with your transition, even though it's related to crisis and COVID and the current situation. There's a lot of useful stuff in there on transitioning from one point to another, which you are in terms of employment to self-employment. So I think that would work well. So after this, I'll get it to you over via email and some more information if you'd like that through Daniel.
So you, before you go, Serena.
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry.
Okay, but so before you go, how can I be participating in your in her business? Because let's take an example. I'm in Kenya. If there are trainings, are they online?
Yes.
If
Yes.
I have
So we
people I want to invite, can I invite like my sisters?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, we welcome, as we said earlier, you know, even though her business revolution is primarily female focused, we do obviously have men involved. We have male speakers. So if you ever wanted to speak, when you do, you know, anything that you want to talk about in terms of training to offer to the network, Sorry, I started. What's going on? My sound's going a bit funny. Sorry.
Okay, I can hear you. I can hear you.
I think that's better.
Hello.
Hello. Sorry, my sound went a little bit funny.
My sound went a little bit funny then. Okay.
It's a little bit weird. Can you hear me okay?
Now I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you. I think it's repeating.
Yeah, it is it's repeating, which is really odd. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, in a nutshell, invite anyone. We're looking over strategically over the next year to expand internationally. We've got a few places
Okay.
in terms of offline stuff as well. But that's why I was saying to Daniel earlier about with her business revolution, it's online training and networking and collaborations and stuff in terms of business, as well as offline, to make it accessible to everyone. So we're trying to bring it to an international platform in terms of being able to offer it online, but also the greater and more powerful business connections that you get from offline meetings in various areas. So there's nothing to say that we can't look to expand in Kenya area. You know, anyone who would be willing to host for us, you know, as Daniel is today, or a lot of our other hosts and hostesses are around the country in UK and over in the US. There's nothing to say that we can't, you know, if people are interested from that, you know, having some sort of offline meetings and stuff, we can obviously help with growing that aspect within your area as well. So it's definitely worth a chat in terms of how you could benefit the most and the people you know could benefit the most from what we can offer you. So
okay, so you rate me via email and we will talk.
Yeah, brilliant. That would be amazing.
Be able to get some information.
Always happy to help, and I look forward to seeing your business progress.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll be progressing soon. Let's pray this corona end.
Yes, but I think in the short term, just keep planning, planning for the future, and getting your mindset in the right space. So when this situation is all over, that you're in the position to focus on following your dreams and doing what you want to do in terms of business. So, good luck.
Yeah.
And lastly, what is the criterion for membership?
We have various price. They're all in pounds, but what I'll do is, what currency do you work in?
Yes, sorry.
What currency do you work in?
We work with Kenyan shillings.
Sorry, I can't hear you. My sound's totally gone.
Kenya shillings.
What we'll do is, if I'll get Daniel to email you all the information that we have, and we can work that out for you.
Okay.
Because it's all in pounds at the moment, so it'll probably be.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. Cool beans.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome,
more than
Alex.
welcome.
Thank
You're more than welcome. I'm gonna have to go because my phone is now ringing, so I'm really sorry to have to go.
No worries.
Again.
Thank you so much, Rena, for your time.
But so lovely to meet you, Alex. So hopefully I'll speak to you soon. We'll put together an email for Daniel to send over to you. Okay.
Okay. If there's any other meeting, I'll be willing to attend.
No worries, Alex. Thanks ever so much for joining us, mate.
Take care.
All right.
Sorry, I've got to go.
No worries. All the best to Matthew and the kids, babe. Take care. I'll speak to you really soon.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, Alex. Thanks a lot, mate.
Okay.
Thank you so much, mate. Take care, buddy.
Okay.
See you soon.
Take care too.
So, for the sake, should I say, of the recording, then I will just say for anybody watching this back later on, it was a wonderful. Actually, I think this has turned out quite nicely in a way because this was nice for anybody watching this to get to sort of know myself and Serena, of course, as you've seen. You've seen us just having a conversation, which, stating the obvious, we're doing via Zoom. And the benefits of technology and what we're able to do online, but we'd be exactly the same if we were face to face, which is really cool, is really, really good. So if anybody is interested in joining us with Hair Business Revolution, we are going to be doing a lot more of these meetings. They're going to be doing them in different areas, and hopefully, God willing, when this is all over and when everything is, fingers crossed and God willing, back to normal, in hopefully not the I want to say in the very near future, of course, we hope that we can get back in our venues, and we want to be able to meet people, and it's when it's safe to do so, do it properly the way we do. But in the meantime, we're definitely going to be doing these online meetings. I hope you enjoy the recording. It may be a little bit crazy, obviously, being the first one. But this is the option and the opportunity for us to introduce ourselves. So if anybody has any questions whatsoever, you can drop me an email, and I'm going to give you my email to my freelance business. But from there, I'm going to pass on the email to for the Hair Business Revolution as well, where you can get me on. So you can get me on Daniel. And that's at danielmatthewsassociates.com. So it's Daniel at danielmatthewsassociates.com. And I will simply forward the emails to my London Hair Business Revolution email address, where they'll be able to be passed on to Serena and to anybody who can answer questions, either from myself or any member of the team. Check out the website, Hair Business Revolution. Check out our Facebook page and groups. Any information you need is pretty much on there, but any questions that you have, get in contact. We welcome people. We want to encourage people. There's so much about this. I could sit here and talk about it all day, but I think really the business speaks for itself. The online networking, what can be offline and will hopefully be coming back to very soon. The support, the training, connections, you name it, it's all there. So, there you go. That's it. I'm Daniel Matthews. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope you've enjoyed it. And I just want to end this by simply saying what we all know so far, which is stay safe. Stay at home for the time being, if you can. Look after yourselves, look after one another. And yeah, just stay safe. We're going to get through this, and we're going to be out and about doing what we do really, really soon. I will just finally finish by letting people know a little bit more about what I do in the ways of my work. So with Hair Business Revolution, I am the area manager for London and for the north of England. So of course I have my involvement in that with events, linked as well to the other side of the work that I do in public relations, media, promotions is kind of my thing. Media and communications is what I'm all about. I do producing, promoting in the entertainment world, in the corporate world, a little bit of everything. So again, feel free to get in contact. The email I gave you before, which is why I gave you that one as well. So you can find out more about what I do. Obviously, what I want to do is encourage as much as possible for the Hair Business Revolution. We are always looking at ways to plug. We're looking at new opportunities. And I will finally show you before I go, if you can see this, it's probably the other way around on the camera, but this is what we're talking about mainly, is the business strategies, the support and networking, the training and the empowerment, the environments as well is something we talk about very much. The passionate and ambitious of, in this case, it is aimed at female entrepreneurs, women in business. But of course, Serena mentioned earlier on, we're open to males, which is why I chose to be a part of it. When Serena came and asked me if it's something that I'd be interested in doing, I jumped at the opportunity to be part of something that it could grow and create and be part of such a wonderful and unique team. And I'm not just saying that because I'm on a recording and I can say it. Serena knows, and the whole team is fantastic. The company's brilliant. So come along, check out the website, check out what we do. Look out for on Eventbrite and on our social media and website, etc., more dates of meetings similar to this with myself, other members of the team, and hopefully future dates that we're going to be doing. For more information, get in contact, see what you think. As I say, always open to connecting and helping people in every way possible. So feel free to get in contact anytime. It's what we're here for. Thank you again for joining us for the recording. And as I said before, stay safe, look after yourselves, be positive. We're going to get through this. I really do believe. So thanks again to Serena. Thanks to all the brilliant team. Lots of love to everybody. God bless. And I'll see you very soon. Take care. Okay, so we